Buongiorno friends, this is Ray and welcome back to the Port of Indecision channel. We just got back from a 23-day adventure we're calling the Best of Italy and Croatia. We spent 3 days in Venice before taking a train down to Ravenna to board the Celebrity Constellation. Our first port of call was Trieste, followed by Zadar. Then we went to Brindisi, Italy, crossing the Adriatic Sea. We then came back across the Adriatic Sea to Kotor, then to Split, Croatia. We toured the walls of Dubrovnik, and then after touring Dubrovnik, we had a day at sea as we sailed around the boot of Italy. And we went between Italy and Sicily. And we headed to the Amalfi Coast, where we docked in Salerno and then went to see the Pompeii ruins. The next day we sailed back up to Civitavecchia, where we got a train and went into Rome and spent a day touring there before we traveled up by train to Florence and then down to Siena. And then we spent a day in the Tuscan wine country before heading back along the coast. And we stopped in San Gimignano and then took a train to Cinque Terre, spent 3 days there, and then finished up our trip in Milan and Lake Como. In today's episode, we will be making a port of call in Kotor Montenegro and visiting attractions by a smaller boat. Last night, we left Brindisi and traveled across the Adriatic Sea, and today we'll be dropping anchor in Kotor Bay and taking a tender into the shore. That's where we'll get on a smaller boat and go out and visit Our Lady of the Rocks Church, travel through the famous Blue Cave, and make other stops along the way, including the submarine tunnels at Lustica. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to leave a comment. Remember, no passport is required to subscribe to the Port of Indecision. And, oh yeah, it's free. So come on along and join us on our journey in Kotor Montenegro.
We sailed from the Port of Indecision.
The Celebrity Constellation dropped anchor in Bay of Kotor just in time for us to start the tender process to head into town and catch on our excursion boats.
Hello friends, this is Ray and welcome back to the Port of Indecision. We are in Kotor, Montenegro today. We're going to do the Lady of the Rocks and Blue Cave submarine tour. And we have a very pretty day. This is a hub of activity down here. Lots of people jumping on the same tour. And it's just beautiful country, sailing in or cruising in this morning through all the fjords.
We had about a 15-minute tender ride, but once we got to the town of Kotor, it was a short walk to where our charter boat was, and before we knew it, we were out on the Bay of Kotor, headed out to the Lady of the Rocks Church.
Everybody's getting on this one.
Our Lady of the Rocks is one of the two islets off the coast of Parast in the Bay of Kotor. It is an artificial island which has been created by a bulwark of rocks and by sinking old and sea ships loaded with rocks. And according to legend, the islet was made over the centuries by local seamen who kept an ancient oath after finding the icon of Madonna and the Child on the rock in the sea on July 22, 1452. Upon returning from successful voyages, they laid a rock in the bay. Over time, the islet gradually emerged from the sea. The custom of throwing rocks into the sea is alive even today. Every year on the sunset of the July 22nd, an event called Fascinata in the local dialect where residents take their boats and throw rocks into the sea. The widening of the surface island takes place. The church on the island was renovated in 1722, but the practice of putting rocks has been for over 300 years.
Some sailors, brothers. They were coming in.
Push. Beautiful, huh?
Gorgeous.
We were very fortunate to get to Our Lady of the Rocks Church really before most of the crowds got there, so we had beautiful picture opportunities, and it started getting pretty busy at 9 o'clock, but we were able to get on and off the island pretty quickly, and we were on to our next stop.
The name is Boss. 350 MDL.
Our next stop were the 3 submarine tunnels located in the Bay of Kotor. These were built during the 1970s by the Yugoslav Navy. These tunnels were designed to be stealthy hosts to submarines and small ships. The entrance features a peculiar construction covered with fake rocks designed to make the spot invisible to unsuspecting eyes or satellites or planes. We were taking our tour in October, but one of the things we had read is that you could actually go swimming in the submarine tunnels. Now, it might be a little bit dangerous with this boat traffic, and on the day we were taking the tour, it would have also been very cold. But there was also a challenge that you could climb to the top of the door or the entry of the tunnel and dive into the water. I'm glad to say nobody on our tour decided to take that up as a challenge.
We are deep into submarine tunnels built by the Yugoslavians to protect their submarines. Also, James Bond Casino Royale was filmed here. And
As we approach Mamulya Island, it is interesting to know during the Venetian Republic the island was known as Rondina. This island had a fort built upon it in 1853. It also served as a concentration camp in World War II, and now it's a luxury resort development.
Only that place.
Oh, I wish I hear all these boats. Female.
Look at the color of it. Getting right. I need like for 10 minutes in front to go inside it. That have like 12 volts here. And we are not driving, we are pushing each other. In this case, we can't go too far because in the middle of the cave there is a big stone. So we can go just a little bit.
Well, we wrapped up our excursion and we were headed back to Kotor, and Captain Jack took over the controls of the boat to bring us back, and then we were going to go grab some lunch inside the walled city.
Temples. Oh wow! There looks like it has a fort. It sure does, doesn't it?
Posso fare posto?
This is Old Town.
It was 12 o'clock noon, the church bells were ringing, and after spending a few hours out on the water, we were hungry, and it was time to search for a restaurant. Well, we found dessert first, but we had to pass it up and keep on searching for a restaurant.
Who's winning?
I think so. Myself.
Yourself?
Well, with 8 in the group, there was a lot of different tastes, and so the group did break up for lunch. Patty and I joined Sherry for lunch at an authentic Dalmatian restaurant. It was Celebrity, and I had a seafood risotto, and Sherry had chicken, and Patty had the big surprise. She had a fish delivered to her with the head intact and the eye. Luckily, our waitress was kind enough to prepare the fish and fillet it for her, and Patty was very happy with the fish, and she ate it all the way down to the bone. And now, before we were heading back to the ship, it was time for dessert and the best gelato in Montenegro. Well, after we finished our gelato, we caught up with the rest of the crew and it was time to head back. Take the tender back to the ship and get ready for dinner. And one thing we had to look forward to tonight beside dinner was we were going to do a sail away on the helipad.
Hello, how are you?
Well, we had a wonderful time in Kotor, Montenegro, and it was another great day on the Celebrity cruise ship. So we closed the evening out with a beautiful sail away. And in tomorrow's episode, we'll be headed to Split, Croatia, and we'll be going to Kraka National Park. And the weather looks like it's going to be a rainy one, but we're going to see waterfalls anyway. So, hey, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, leave your comments, and remember, there's no passport necessary to be a subscriber to the Port of Indecision. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.